Alright guys, at Love Clark here again. We're continuing with Germany and the Holy Roman Empire. And we're going to start where we left off, at Hitler's religion. In 1926, Hitler said Christ was the greatest early fighter in the battle against the world enemy, the Jews. The work that Christ started but could not finish, I, Adolf Hitler, will conclude. He did not consider Jesus a Jew, but only a half-Jew because he was begotten by God. Hitler received revelation from his God about leading the Third Reich in World War II. He was obviously being used by the god of this world, Satan, and his demons. 2 Corinthians 4:4. Most are ignorant of the spirit world because people refuse to know God and the devil. Hitler said, "We are not a movement. Rather, we are a religion. I'm going to become a religious figure." Even Hitler's 1,000-year Reich was a religious belief based on the 1,000-year biblical millennium. It is truly amazing that the world knows so little about the satanic power which was behind Hitler. So much has been written but not understood. The colossal assembly hall planned for his new capital of Germania should be seen as a secular cathedral rather than a civic building. The dome was to be large enough to encompass the dome of St. Peter's. 7 times favorite number. As Albert Speer has noted, it was basically a hall of worship. Without such cult significance, the motivation for Hitler's main structure would have been senseless and unintelligible. What is he saying? Albert Speer, a very intelligent and close associate to Hitler, clearly stated that Hitler was motivated by extreme cult worship. That means we cannot understand what motivated Hitler unless we comprehend his radical religion. We must perceive why he planned to build a great hall of worship with such bizarre cult significance. These people close to Hitler have told the world about his satanic religion. Still, the world usually refuses to believe them. The murderous fruits of Hitler's regime should make us see a sickness beyond the human realm. Humanity must learn the reality of Satan, either by word or by experience through suffering. Pause. This is where I'm trying to spread the word because some people can't read, so it needs to be heard. Unpause. Hitler was prepared for his job. Satan is the great counterfeiter. As God uses one man to lead his church, so does Satan. The devil has a very elect also. Mr. Waite comments on a telling statement of Hitler's. Above all, I have learned from the Jesuit order. Certainly the oath of direct obedience to the Fuhrer was strikingly reminiscent of the special oath that Jesuits swear to the Pope. Moreover, Hitler spoke of his elite SS, who wore the sacred symbol and dressed in black, and his Society of Jesus. He also ordered SS officers to study the spiritual exercises of Ignatius of Loyola for training in the rigid discipline of the faith. There is a combined church and state in the Holy Roman Empire. Notice what John Toland wrote about the close tie between Hitler and the leaders in the Catholic Church. By mid-1933, the majority of Germans supported Hitler. Hitler knows how to guide the ship, announced Monsieur Ludwig Koss, leader of the recently outlawed Catholic Party, after an audience with the Pope. Even before he became Chancellor, I met him frequently and was greatly impressed by his clear thinking, by his way of facing realities while upholding his ideas, which are noble. It matters little who rules as long as order is maintained. Pius X1. Subscribe to the same principles. Question: if people believe that today, is that how they got that black guy in office, Obama? So, because it matters little who rules so long as order is maintained. But do we see order either? No, we don't see order, so, or do we? I don't know. See, it's confusion, Babylon. Anyway, unpaused. Sorry, guys. It matters little who rules as long as order is maintained. Pius X1. Subscribe to the same principles, as was proved on July 20, when a concordat between the Vatican and Hitler was signed. You heard it. A concordat between the Vatican and Hitler was signed. The Church agreed to keep priests and religion out of politics, while Hitler, among other things, granted complete freedom to confessional schools throughout the country, a notable victory for German Catholics. His Holiness welcomed Hitler's representative, Franz von Papen, most graciously, and remarked how pleased he was that the German government now had at its head a man incomprehensibly opposed to communism and Russian nihilism in all its forms. The Vatican was so appreciative of being recognized as a full partner that it asked God to bless the Reich. On a more practical level, it ordered German bishops to swear allegiance to the National Socialist regime. The new oath concluded with these significant words: in the performance of my spiritual office and in my solicitude for the welfare and the interests of the German Reich, I will endeavor to avoid all detrimental acts which might endanger it. This illustrates how the Church and State have cooperated during 6 resurrections of the Roman Empire. Notice, it is happening once again in Europe. Many Catholics today don't like to admit Hitler's connection with Catholicism. We have written often about how most of the Nazi leaders escaped after World War II through the Vatican's rat lines. That is a well-documented truth. The highest leaders in the Catholic Church helped the worst criminals of the 20th century escape. That is not a holy relationship. That truth alone ought to electrify people into an intense concern about what is happening in Europe today. It's more than a deep sleep that people are in. It is a coma, but not for long. The time of blindness is about over. What happened in Vienna? Adolf Hitler said the foundation of his philosophy was laid in Vienna. Why Vienna? What happened there? He insisted that his early years in Vienna were absolutely crucial to his career, because at that time I formed an image of the world and a view of life which became the foundations for my actions. I have had to change nothing. Albert Speer, who knew Hitler best during World War II, was convinced that Hitler's intellectual development stopped with the world as he had known it. Vienna in 1910. Hitler later wrote about his critical period in Vienna in his book Mein Kampf. This was the time in which the greatest change I was ever to experience took place in me. From a feeble cosmopolite, I turned into a fanatical anti-Semite. Waite then continues his book. It is difficult to overstate the importance to Hitler of his commitment to anti-Semitism. It meant almost everything to him. However, the biggest change in Hitler was not becoming a fanatical anti-Semite. That is only part of the story. This is where many people are deceived. Much of the world looks upon the Jews as God's chosen people. In Vienna, Hitler came to believe that God had replaced the Jews with the Germans and the Holy Roman Empire. He believed the Germans were God's chosen people. This is why the crown jewels of the empire meant so much to him. In 1938, at a rally in Nuremberg, Hitler had brought from Vienna, after 140 years, the insignia of the First Reich, the imperial crown, the orb of empire, the scepter, and the imperial sword. At the presentation of these symbols of imperialism, he solemnly vowed that they would remain in Nuremberg forever. That was a strong statement. He solemnly vowed that the crown jewels of the Holy Roman Empire were to remain in Nuremberg forever. This is like death-defying commitment to the Holy Roman Empire and his God. He made a vow forever. The crown jewels were to be kept key part of the Third Reich, as they were of the First Reich. Alright, we're going to stop there. The Third Reich crown jewels. Hitler claimed ownership of the orb of empire, the imperial crown, and the imperial sword. The beautiful craftsmanship. People made this by hand, of course. Ancient stuff. Beautiful stuff. You know. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna pick it up right here where we left off. Okay. And we're gonna stop it right here.